Hey, how are you? John High here. Thanks for coming back and checking out my video again. As always, we are here to talk about secondary transition, and I hope that through this video, you will begin to see my implementation process. We're going to go over my syllabus, my course overview document that I provided for students or anyone that's going to be using my modules, and then kind of explain a little bit about my design, and you'll see some of these parts in action. I'm going to go ahead and split my screen because that's going to be necessary. So let me just guys, if you look over here at my screen, some interesting stuff going on. We start with my course syllabus. As always, I think it was imperative. We need to know how students can get in touch with me. But really, it gives them the purpose of the course, what we're looking for, the communication, just where, when, how to get in touch with me when the course is happening. One of the most important aspects of my course and my design was the consistency. So you'll see as we move through and we get into the course outcome, each one of the units is actually going to contain a pre-quiz, objectives, keywords, discussion activity, a unit quiz, and then students will be asked to reflect for their portfolio that is a semester-long assignment. Right here, that's explained that throughout the course, students will be choosing artifacts that they are exposed to through this coursework. But then we dive into the outcomes, the objectives. Students will begin to construct the e-portfolio, some of the overview objectives of this entire course, beginning to look at their goals, take some assessments to learn more about their desired areas and pathways. Another important thing that we did was look at academic and technological outcomes, because those are secondary outcomes that were expected from this course. But moving forward in today's learning environments in post-secondary education, we felt that these were important transferable skills that students should be aware of as part of the course. And then you'll see down here we have the course map. This really goes to show the consistency of the course. Again, as you go through, you'll see that students will see exactly what the course is talking about. If it's an introduction to an intro to the transition portfolio, and module 2, research and careers, are what I'm going to show you today. But you'll see, as we just went over, the syllabus, the objectives, the outcome, and the course maps were all part of this start here document that we're going through. So from here on out, things stay pretty consistent. And then, as always, we ask students to reach out to me or use my scheduling link if they wanted to take or offer office hours. Okay, here, if you take a look at the screen here, you can see that this is my module 1 pre-quiz. All the pre-quizzes were just based off of 10 questions that I came up with. They have to do with some of the activities that students will be exposed to. So if you look here, we move into the objectives. Students would take the pre-quiz, but these objectives could be posted on the whiteboard, some kind of digital smartboard. They should be given to students in a handout with their packets. However, the teachers are running the course. Within our school, the plan would be to use this course via a OneNote or digitally. And students will be building their e-portfolios along with that. So I think digitally using the OneNote would be easiest. But you'll see that these objectives are all measurable. They provide students with a clear relationship between the activities and what they should know at the end of this unit. I'm a big piece from special ed of making sure that students understand the vocabulary that's being asked from them. That came from me back in my middle school days. So many times we ask students to do this, and this, and we're not checking if they understand what we're asking them to do. So I thought it was example to give them, the keywords from the unit, and then provide them even an example in some ways. And then finally, if you look up here, we have our first discussion activity. And this one's pretty broad because it's in the first chapter, but it's just asking students, a little bit about what their goals are for a salary and what they think they have to do to to reach that salary level, and then what skills and abilities they would need. And that's going to be an important part of this module as we go forward. Again, students are then going out to the World Wide Web. They're using this internet, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, a government site, to kind of go through and answer some questions and work together in an activity. And then finally, students are assessed again with another 10 questions. These questions do look similar to the post quiz, but are worded a little bit differently and asked to have students, really solidify that they've taken the concrete material away. And then last but not least, the reflection. The reflection process looks the same. I won't lie, I kind of liked that in our reflections that were given to us throughout our coursework, we weren't required to hit every question, but they kind of used those questions as a way to start our writing and our reflection process. I did the same here. So just gave students some questions that they could begin with, but that if they don't, they don't need to stick to that format. Here again, you'll see Module 2, Researching Careers, looks pretty much the same with the pre-quiz, the objectives again, and they are different, but they look the same for consistency. Again, this one's important. You're going to see here students are going to begin to dive into researching 3 careers, and I give them the option to look at 2 from their results and 1 from one that they're interested in. You'll see we go through keywords again, provided examples. These are important for students. And here we get into a cool collaborative discussion activity where students get to take on a little bit of a debate method. I thought that was pretty cool. Really, really interesting thing. Here we go into an evaluating website, job search kind of activity where students can work in small groups, gaining some collaborative skills, which I think are a very important part of the goal of the course. But finally, this is one that I really wanted to show you. This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of secondary transition. Students actually go and take an O-Net survey. They'll copy the results, and then they'll go through and they'll answer these questions based on exploring the website. Here, what we're trying to do is really put students in the driver's seat and see if they'll take their learning to the next level by going out there and diving into the resources that we're providing. From there, we even ask them to look up some of the classes that can support them in their preparation. And then we look at their questions for training and experience, okay? Just getting them to think about the process of how to follow their pathway. Last but not least, the Module 2 unit quiz. And you can see that's where we finish up the document. So I really think it's important to remember that, overall, there's consistency through this course. If we go back up to the top, I'll leave you with my contact information so you can reach out to me. But please take a look over everything. And if you have anything to share or that you think might be beneficial for me to implement this course, I look forward to talking further.